Hey everyone, this is Geno Boost from GameMusicForAll.com, and I'm here to talk about some of my most anticipated games now that we've wrapped up E3 2017, to try to keep things at least, for me, brief, which is like, 30 minutes? Anyway, we're gonna only cover games I actually plan on buying, which means all Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS, because I cannot afford a PS4 or a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One or an Xbox One S or an Xbox One X or an Xbox One X. First up, we got Splatoon 2. I didn't own the first Splatoon. I skipped it. Why would you skip any game on the Wii U? But I did. I mean, it's not like, there's games busting down the door when you own one. But I skipped it, and I totally missed out on what seems to be like the hottest new Nintendo game of the Wii U generation. But luckily I got the Switch, and I'm planning to go ahead and grab Splatoon 2 plus that sweet pink and green controller, which reminds me of the wonderful days of very colorful Game Boy colors. Next up is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Does this game have anything to do with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or X? I never played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, but I have played over 200 hours of Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm not sure if the fact that this is Xenoblade Chronicles 1, then X, then 2... is a little confusing, and probably makes Xenoblade Chronicles X an even stranger game now. So I guess we won't get any more closure or updates or any new information about Mira and the world of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I'm not sure is a good or a bad thing. While I am sure that the story to Xenoblade Chronicles X is bad, so I guess anything that springs forth from that story would inherently be flawed as well. If we ever do learn more about the world of XCX, I have high hopes though. Well, I have some hope. Well, we'll see. But I do have to say that this turnaround time for Xenoblade Chronicles X to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is just too fast. I am not ready for more Xenoblade Chronicles. I didn't even finish Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I played it for over 200 hours. I still got all these annoying NPCs to level up. I have to do missions with them, just so they could blow up the robots I bought them. Well, which brings me to another thing. Will there be any giant robots in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? I hope so. So with one sentence, Nintendo got everyone real carried away by announcing that there will be a core Pokemon game coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2018, but I don't like the way he said core game, which seems to imply that it's not a new game. So the likely scenario is remakes. We always seem to get remakes in between actual new releases of the mainline Pokemon series, so I imagine we might either see Diamond and Pearl remakes for the Nintendo Switch, which will also come to the 3DS at the same time, or we might get completely rebuilt HD versions of Pokemon Red and Blue / Green, and people will freak out. And technically, Fire Red and Leaf Green came out in 2004, whereas Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out in 2006. So Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, although they are remakes of the originals, are actually more due for a remake than Diamond and Pearl. Think about that. And I think if it was the first home console HD mainline Pokemon experience, I think a complete reimagining of the original world from Pokemon Red and Blue would create the most buzz for that kind of a game. even though this was covered a little bit before E3 in its own Pokemon Nintendo Direct, this is a good time to talk about Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I am super hyped for this. I incorrectly assumed that we'd be getting Diamond and Pearl remakes, or even the supposed single game follow-up, Pokemon Stars, but we are getting the dual game follow-up to Sun and Moon. If you've ever talked to me about Pokemon, or more likely, if I've ever talked to you about what I think about Pokemon, you would know that Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 are my favorite of the Pokemon series. Most of that is because of all of the incredible post-game content. The amount of post-game battle content in Black and White 2 is unparalleled. Hopefully Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon include a ton of extra content as well, which is really what we're all here for anyway, right? I mean, are we here for the story to Pokemon? When Black 2 and White 2 came out though, they were clearly labeled as sequels to Black and White, taking place several years after the events of the original Black and White. But Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon has been described specifically as a reimagining, so that must mean that the events of the original Sun and Moon either did not happen or happened quite differently. What it seems to be from a couple of the early trailers, and what I hope, is that they're bringing gyms back. I'm hoping that the gyms have been built as was implied in the original Sun and Moon, and then we can have both new trials and brand new gyms. And how about bringing back the World Tournament? Remember the World Tournament? Post-game content from Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, which yes, I'm still talking about. The World Tournament would pit you against plenty of classic gym leaders from past Pokemon games, and I think that would be a great addition to Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and have even more classic gym leaders recreated in the nice high quality graphics of Pokemon Sun and Moon. I had this whole Metroid rant ready to go. I mean, like, just scathing. I really had Nintendo's number here. But they actually did announce Metroid Prime 4, so that's all out the window. Interestingly, Metroid Prime 4 is not being developed by Retro Studios, but rather a brand new studio, which seems to just be a conglomeration of other Nintendo studios that are all just being sent to work on Metroid now. We'll see how that works out. But that is both good and bad news, I think, because I've been a strong advocate that Retro Studios get to create their own brand new IP ever since they wrapped up the Metroid Prime trilogy. But then they went and recreated Donkey Kong Country Returns. Talk about revitalizing two old franchises. Damn, Retro Studios, you're the best. But that was followed up by another Donkey Kong Country, which was also incredible, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. But people were like, more Donkey Kong, even though how is that a reaction to anything? I mean, when Donkey Kong Country 2 came out, no one said, what? More Donkey Kong? But that's the age we're living in now. Anyway, I'm very excited for Metroid Prime 4. I'm also excited to find out whatever Retro Studios is working on, unless it's another Donkey Kong Country, because I don't want that shit neither. And I'm lying, I totally do. Back to Metroid Prime 4. It's no secret that the Metroid series has kind of gone off the rails. I mean, Other M isn't as bad as people say it is, but you need to play it on mute. They should have said that in the instruction manual or something. It's a much better game. That game caused a lot of divide. Most people didn't like it. Most people, which I agree with, said, what is going on with these characters? So then we just didn't get no more Metroid because Nintendo was like, I don't know what Metroid fans want, and Metroid fans with me were like, I don't know what I want. So then things went dormant, and then Federation Force came out, and then Metroid fans were like, well, we know we don't want this. And then Nintendo was like, well, we made Metroid though. It's like, yeah, but you didn't really make Metroid, did you? And then they kind of shrugged, and we shrugged, and then they started working on Metroid Prime 4. Which, I don't know if they've actually started working on it, because it's in development, which just might mean some guys are in a meeting somewhere throwing paper airplanes at each other, discussing gameplay mechanics. But hopefully we'll see something about it by next year's E3. But what we did get to see right here, right now, was gameplay and footage from another Metroid game that's coming up soon, and that's Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of Metroid Return of Samus. So you just switch the things around, put some 3D in there, and it's a brand new game. I don't know why I'm acting so cynical. I'm really excited about this game. Metroid 2 Return of Samus was the first Metroid game I ever played. The Game Boy, though, was a humble system and wasn't exactly the perfect platform for such a maze-like game, but persevered until I got stuck. It was a couple years later that I discovered Super Metroid and basically fell in love with the Metroid series for sure. But I am glad that Metroid Samus Returns is remaining on a handheld system, much like the game it's based on. The special edition is going to come with a soundtrack, which is pretty awesome, but what would be more awesome is if us in the US got the European special edition, which comes with not just the soundtrack but also a little Metroid pin and I think one other thing. But that's awesome, and I might just have to import the European version even if I can't play it on an American 3DS. One little thing I wanted to talk about after reading a couple of interviews with Mercury Steam and the other folks behind Metroid Samus Returns, they've had some really shifty quotes in a couple of their interviews. When talking to Mercury Steam, it seems that they had a prototype of a Metroid game that they wanted to remake, and in meetings with Nintendo, they decided to hire Mercury Steam because Nintendo wanted to remake Metroid 2, so that implies that Mercury Steam was working on a different Metroid game, and I think that makes it obvious that they were probably working on a remake of Super Metroid. So I think Nintendo said, hey, we want to remake Metroid 2 though, because it's kind of a hard swallow if you ever go back and play that game. So it could really use the update. So they said, hey, Mercury Steam, if you guys can pull this off, maybe in the future we're gonna get that Super Metroid remake, and hopefully it'll be on the Nintendo Switch. But that's pure speculation, straight out of my brain right now. Well, not straight out of my brain, I have notes and stuff, but you know what I mean. Let's talk about Super Mario Odyssey. I'm just a huge Mario fan. I've been playing Super Mario 64 again recently, and man, it is still just as good as ever. Super Mario Odyssey looks like a extra huge, extra crazy sequel to Super Mario 64. I'm very excited for this title. There's nothing like hopping around in a Super Mario game. Super Mario 3D World was great, and Super Mario 3D Land was damn near perfect, but I need a Mario game without a timer nagging me the whole time. Of course, everyone knows now that Mario's hat can inhabit, control almost anything, living or inanimate. So this has brought up a bunch of controversy about how much the hat has known this entire time. Has the hat been a willing participant, or has he been a bystander in all of these Mario deaths that we've been logging up over the past 30 or so years? Let's just skip all that and talk about the Super Mario Odyssey theme song. It's the first Mario track with vocals. I know there's like a whole segment of the VGM community that hates vocals and anything, but I love vocals, I love musicals, I love jazz, and I love Mario music. So this Mario Odyssey theme song is exactly what I wanted to hear. I know the lyrics are like kind of cheesy, but what do you expect from a Mario game? It's not going to be an opera that's written in Latin and sung by a world famous opera singer. and is about love. This ain't Final Fantasy. It's about jumping and coins and a hat that can possess things, and it's all set to great big band jazz music. And I heartily endorse this. I definitely hope it's not the only vocal track for this Mario soundtrack, and I hope more Mario soundtracks have vocals as well. I actually think every video game soundtrack needs more vocal soundtracks, as long as, you know, they're good. And in between all the video game news, we have to talk about amiibos. I mean, they just dumped a ton of amiibo news on us, and it's not even a thing now, because either you collect amiibos or you don't collect amiibos now. I mean, like, the fad part of it is long gone, but Nintendo's still releasing them, and people are still buying them. They announced 4 more Zelda amiibos, even though you can't find the original 4 in store anymore, or any of the previous Zelda amiibos before that, because, man, amiibos, man. And on top of those Zelda amiibo, we're gonna get 5 more Mario amiibo. Like, Mario has tons of amiibo already. I don't know how many just Mario amiibo there are now, but there's got to be at least 10. We also got another Princess Peach and another Bowser, all dressed up, all nice for a wedding. They're gonna make great wedding cake toppers too, so I wonder if that's gonna drive up the market for those amiibo. But what the ones I want actually are 2 that will be coming out alongside Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which we'll get to in a minute. Just a simple Koopa Troopa and a Goomba amiibo. Just elegant in their dopey simplicity. After that, they also announced 2 more Metroid amiibo. One with Samus in her classic Metroid 2 pose, as well as one with a squishy little Metroid. I also pre-ordered those because I'm insane and I don't know how to control my money situation. There are also more Fire Emblem amiibo. You'll notice that I didn't bring up Fire Emblem at all in this video until now, and that's because on principle I don't like Fire Emblem. Until I get a new Advance Wars game, stop with the Fire Emblem. Let's talk about Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. We're getting another remake of a classic handheld game, and now being brought to life on the 3DS. And it is a remake of the very first Mario and Luigi game, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Well known for its classic and great dialogue, especially that of Fawful. We haven't really seen Fawful come back, so I'm glad that we get him back, even if it's in a remake. And this was an awesome game when I first played it on the Game Boy Advance, so I'm glad a lot of folks are going to get to play it again. It seems like the Mario and Luigi series has been floundering ever since this game, to be honest. I mean, I had Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, which was a super fun RPG, but felt completely unfinished, like they only made half of an RPG and said, slap the boss fight in there and call it a day. Release that thing. Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story regained the series footing for a bit there, but then they had another game, which I don't even remember the name of now. And then there was Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which was like, hey, you have a half-done Mario and Luigi over there? Hey, you have a half-done Paper Mario over there? Hey, we have a finished game! Release that. So now it feels like the Paper Mario series, even though Color Splash was a beautiful game, was just kind of lacking something. Same for the Mario and Luigi series. So hopefully with this reboot, we'll remember what really made us fall in love with Mario and Luigi and Mario RPG games in general. And hopefully they could get a fresh look at it themselves, and we'll get some really good Mario RPG games in the future. Then there's Sushi Striker, The Way of Sushido. I wasn't even going to talk about this game until I got a glimpse of the actual gameplay footage. The matching and launching style of this competitive puzzle game gives me total Meteos vibes, and those are like the best vibes possible. This should be a fun and quirky handheld puzzle game with super catchy music. I'm pretty sure that's my favorite genre, if you want to be like real specific about it. And we also learned about 2 more Switch games coming in 2018. A brand new Kirby game and a brand new Yoshi game. The Yoshi game will be made by Good Phil and looks like it's going to be a paper mache setting this time. Kirby looks like a little mashup of Crystal Shard and Return to Dreamland, and a little bit of Milky Way Wishes from Kirby Superstar. I hope to hear more about these games later on. What I think is interesting though is that even though these games come out in probably a year or more away, Nintendo actually teases gameplay footage rather than just like a teaser trailer that has nothing to do with the actual game like most companies. And it's actually interesting too that these gameplay trailers actually get people excited. Like, you see the trailer for Yoshi and you remember how much fun you had playing Yoshi's Woolly World and you're like, yeah, I want to do that again. Alright, but moving on. The final game I want to talk about is Blade Strangers, a fighting game announced by Nicalis featuring characters from Cave Story, Code of Princess, and more. That's all well and good. I'm sure it's going to be a fun game. I'm definitely going to check it out. What I'm really about though is just the fact that Code of Princess is getting a little recognition around here. Now that we've got these high quality sprites of both Princess Solange and Ollie, how about an HD port of Code of Princess though? And how about you put it on the Switch? Okay, that's it. There were a bunch of other games to be excited about, of course, but I don't have money for any of that, so, you know, good day to you. Thanks for watching the Game Music for All YouTube channel. For more videos about music and video games, please subscribe at youtube.com/GameMusicForAll.